The open space just outside of Livermore in eastern Alameda County is covered with quick-burning dry grass, creating unique challenges for the Alameda County Fire Department when a fire does break out.
With wildfire, we really look at wind conditions to be able to push fire. We look at light flashy fuels that respond easily to wind. We have topography, we have hot days out here, so we kind of have all the elements that challenge us.
Contra Costa Fire has already seen 2 fires this week that damaged homes and threatened others. With wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour expected in Alameda County, the department has added staff to make sure there are enough resources on hand to respond quickly to any wildfire. PG&E is also doing its part by shutting off power in most rural parts of eastern Alameda and Contra Costa counties, impacting less than 1,000 customers.
I always say everything helps, right? So if it stops one fire or it stops one potential start, it's doing its job.
Livermore resident Reba Lundy says she's heard about the public safety power shutoffs. She hasn't been left in the dark yet, but that doesn't mean she isn't concerned.
We had those really bad fires in Southern California at the beginning of the year, and so I think hopefully people are, kind of on edge, and, powers that be are keeping an eye on things.
The Alameda County Fire Department has the first of its kind wildland firefighting force. The 18 members are dedicated to reducing the risk of brush fires and creating fire breaks to save as many homes as possible.
It brings more people to the fight, and the more we can get, the better, because these wildfires take a ton of resources.
Vice President J.D. Vance paying a visit to Los Angeles today. The VP departed from D.C. this morning. His agenda includes touring an ICE facility and meeting with Marines on the ground. He is the most notable member of the Trump administration to visit the area since those protests broke out over ICE raids. The White House says ICE officers are aiming for at least 3,000 arrests a day across the country. President Trump says he's going to decide whether to order a strike on Iran within the next 2 weeks. Iran's foreign minister says that the U.S. has sent messages calling for negotiations, but Tehran will not negotiate unless Israel's aggression stops. Israel says it is not backing down. Today, Iran's foreign minister is meeting with some European counterparts in Geneva, Switzerland, hoping for a diplomatic solution to end the conflict with Israel. Heads up for BART riders in the East Bay this weekend. The transit agency is shutting down service between Walnut Creek and Concord for some track repairs. Free bus service will be offered for riders between the Walnut Creek, Pleasant Hill, Contra Costa Center, and Concord stops. BART says you can expect delays of up to 30 minutes. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a popular fireworks show canceled in the South Bay. The safety concerns behind the decision and why neighbors are torn over it.
Well, you have to go pretty far to go to the other one. It's all the way on the other side of San Jose. It's kind of inconvenient.
Plus, we will introduce you to a woman who went from poverty to prosperity. Now, her story is inspiring a revitalization in downtown San Jose.
I feel like I've kind of taken on what she wanted, and now I'm passing it on to my children.
The generations of love that inspired Jackie's Place and how it's helping others find their own inspiration. And she is skateboarding for acceptance. We're going to meet a woman going the extra mile to turn pain into purpose after a rise in hate crimes.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
Well, the winds are the big story for us today. As we head outside, our Bay Area friends are gearing up for wind speeds anywhere up to around 40 to 45 miles per hour this afternoon, while our friends in our inland spots are gearing up for winds closer to around 30 to 35 miles per hour. But at the same time, today's the first day of summer, and we're seeing a lot of sunshine widespread throughout the Bay Area. Temperatures a little bit cooler today, sitting in the 70s. We jump right back into the 80s in the next couple days in our inland spots. That includes the East Bay, the Santa Clara Valley, and for our friends up in wine country. Now, along the Bay, we're going to hold on tight to 70s this weekend with 60s by next week.
A popular 4th of July fireworks show at San Jose's Lake Almaden Park has been canceled over safety concerns. The risk of fires, just one of the factors behind that decision. Some neighbors told our Lauren Toms that they're torn about it.
At Almaden Lake Park in San Jose, there's no bad view of the annual 4th of July fireworks show.
All areas where you could see the fireworks were inhabited, and so it was. But everywhere around the lake was a good vantage point.
Mike Ross has lived nearby for decades, and he's been coming to the Independence Day festivities hosted by the district's council member since the start. But this year, the skies over the lake will be quiet. Council member George Casey announced the festivities would be canceled due to safety concerns.
Well, I was disappointed that it's canceled, but I understand the concern. You know, it's one thing to be a consumer or a guest at an event where, hey, I'm enjoying this event. But if you're responsible for the public safety of everybody, not just people that are at the event, you know, that's a whole different concern.
In an Instagram post this week, Casey said over 30,000 people attended the fireworks show last year, and because of it, it's outgrown its venue. He added that public safety agencies had a difficult time responding to calls for service due to the traffic congestion and indiscriminately parked cars. He said there are no fiscally responsible options to mitigate safety concerns this year. Casey did not respond to our request for comment. Ross says the park tends to be packed during the fireworks show and traffic getting in and out can get congested, but he understands the decision to cancel.
Definitely safety first. I mean, we love events that can get the community together, but we don't want to put the community at risk because of those events.
But one commenter questioned why the city couldn't find another option. Nearby resident Megan Kessel says while the event gets crowded, the cancellation leaves people with few options to enjoy legal fireworks safely.
Well, you have to go pretty far to go to the other one. It's all the way on the other side of San Jose. It's kind of inconvenient. But when we're here, we usually come and see it here.
Last year, a fire sparked during the professional fireworks show. It's emergencies like this the city is concerned about not being able to get to if key intersections like Almaden Expressway are clogged. Ross says he trusts the decision to put safety first.
I mean, I'll miss it, but I'm willing to miss it for public safety.
A number of other 4th of July fireworks shows are still happening across the South Bay, including one at Lake Cunningham. Santa Clara, Milpitas, and Morgan Hill all have shows scheduled, plus the Shoreline Amphitheater in Mountain View. That show features a live performance from the San Francisco Symphony. The search is on for a vandal who did not let security cameras stop him from trashing police cars in Pittsburgh. Take a look at this video showing a man vandalizing patrol vehicles right outside of City Hall on Tuesday. The man on a bike there jumping onto the hood of one of the cars and throwing large rocks at the windshields of two others. He then rode away on a bike northbound on Davie Avenue. If you know anything, Pittsburgh police want to hear from you. Well, this is a story of grit, resilience, and success in the South Bay. Jackie Jackson grew up in poverty, but these days she is serving up more than just barbecue. She is serving up hope. Len Ramirez shares her journey from hardship to hospitality and how she is helping lead a resurgence of Black-owned businesses in downtown San Jose.
This is where all the magic happens. This is where we create and cook all of our food. We fry our fish and our chicken.
Inside Jackie's place, the smoky aroma of ribs, brisket, and fried chicken fills the air. But behind the savory success is a story as rich as the barbecue sauce.
My mom was a chef, She taught me everything that I know, along with my aunts and cousins.
Jackie's journey began in poverty. Her family struggled to get by in rural Texas. Eventually, they moved to California. One day, Jackie was asked to cook for a big church function, and what began as a favor for friends became a dream. Today, Jackie owns not one, but 2 thriving soul food restaurants in San Jose. Her secret recipe? Resilience and a deep love for her roots.
To be able to do this and know that my mom taught me everything that I know about food is quite rewarding on the inside. You know, I feel like I've kind of taken on what she wanted, and now I'm passing it on to my children. So it feels really good.
But something even bigger happened when Jackie opened her doors on South 1st Street in San Jose this year. She became the 4th Black-owned business on the block, joining Nirvana Soul Coffee, St. Clair Newsstand, and Ashy Aromas. They're part of a growing movement shaping a neighborhood where African-American voices, culture, and community thrive.
We're talking about Soul Street. We're introducing what we're calling Soul Street, the Black-owned business here, and a way for other Black-owned businesses to be able to see thriving businesses here in the area and encourage them to come into this space as well to be a part of Soul Street.
Ashton Tofield is from Louisiana and started making and selling candles during the pandemic. The business has grown and diversified into a hands-on fragrance studio where guests craft their own products in a fun, communal setting, blending creativity and conversation, all under the glow of candlelight.
Whether it be grabbing a cup of coffee, whether it be grabbing some soul food, or grabbing a gift from the gift shop, or coming here to do some candle making with us, we want to create a space where when people of color come down to San Jose and they're looking for something to do and finding people that look like them, hey, Soul Street's the area. This is where you can come. This is where you can come for a great time.
The new businesses are also providing jobs. Besides employing her own children, Jackie hires people who needed a second chance, giving them what she once gave herself during hardships in her own life.
That same love, there it is right there.
And she plans to keep on doing what she loves, feeding both stomachs and souls.
Well, the Golden State Valkyries heading into their next matchup this weekend with some momentum after finding a cure for the fever in a game that aired on KPIX last night. Golden State knocked off WNBA superstar Caitlin Clark and her team, the Indiana Fever, 88-77 at Chase Center. The Valkyries improved their overall season record to 6-6. Our Matt Lively talked with coach Natalie Nakasi and a former Clark teammate after the game.
I asked you during the press conference, I asked 2 of your players before the game, how do you stop Caitlin Clark? Nobody wanted to give me the game plan, which I thought was a little rude. What was the game plan now that you held her to 11 points and she didn't hit from 3?
I can't tell you the game plan because we played a couple more times.
Our job is to always make the other team's life, miserable during the games. People might not enjoy playing that type. We don't take possessions off. So, it's a long season, but I'm really proud of how far we've come so far.
You making Caitlin pick up the next check?
She did the other night, so I'm grateful for that.
The crowd did not disappoint. It was packed inside Valhalla and Thrive City. Fans could not get enough of this victory.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Was it cool for you guys to see Caitlin Clark play?
Yeah. Yes.
It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I knew they could do it. I said from the beginning they could do it, and they did. It was unbelievable, off the chart. You had all the Caitlin Clark fans, but the Valkyries overruled everybody and, came out with the win and so much positive energy. We were all the way up in the bleachers, and it couldn't have been any more fun.
So next up for the Valkyries, they're hosting the Connecticut Sun on Sunday. That starts at 5 p.m. We're going to bring you that game live on Pix Plus 44 Cable 12. Still ahead, she is flying her flag high on the streets of San Francisco.
I try to do this every day as possible.
We're meeting the skateboarders spreading trans awareness across the city.
A lot cooler for our friends along the coast as we head into this afternoon. It's going to be a breezy one for us, too. That's the big weather story right now. The strong winds lasting into the evening hours tonight, tomorrow. It's going to be a repeat as we head into this weekend with strong winds up to around 40 to 45 miles per hour along our coastline, about 30-mile-per-hour winds in our inland areas. Here's our temperatures, though, for today. A lot cooler along the coast compared to our inland areas, but think about where we were at just 2 days ago. We were in the 90s, almost the triple digits the other day on Wednesday over in Antioch, and we were in the 90s up into Santa Rosa, but today it's a lot more mild for the first day of summer. We're also gearing up for some cooler conditions down into the Santa Clara Valley. 60s in store for us down there. Now, the reason why we're cooling down, well, there's this area of low pressure kind of impacting our local forecast. It's moving its way in from the north. And even though it's not bringing in storms to us here locally, those are all staying to the north of us, all the way up into the Pacific Northwest, it is changing the direction of the winds, and it's also allowing for them to be a lot stronger for our friends along our local communities, along our shoreline, at the surface level, and all the way off into our inland spots, too. This afternoon, heading into this evening, we could see gusts up to around 40 miles per hour at times in areas like San Francisco, Bodega Bay, Half Moon Bay also dealing with those strong onshore winds, but you notice it in our inland areas too. And the reason why that's a concern for us, well, think about it. It's been a very dry season. It's dry out there. We've been dealing with hot temperatures earlier this week and strong winds. All of those ingredients together allow for fire weather conditions. So I'm going to talk more about that heading into the next couple hours, but for now, over to you.
No matter what's going on around you. This Pride Month, we are highlighting a freewheeling spirit, spreading visibility and positivity in the transgender community. Kara St. Cyr introduces us to the skateboarder whose personal mission, born from pain, has become a powerful statement of pride.
I try to do this every day as possible, just to let the tourist people around us know that we're here.
On any given day, you might see Abby Smith skateboarding through the city.
Oh, I go all the way up to Castro and back down to Jefferson and skate around the Golden Gate.
Wielding a trans flag high above her head.
It's inspiring, it's encouraging to, other like-minded people.
She's covered 20 to 30 miles daily since February, making it her mission to show everyone this display of pride. While the statement she's making is overwhelmingly a positive one, it was born out of what she says is necessity.
A lot of the trans have to run in fear, and they're just mispronounced and just mistreated, not eligible for hire and stuff like that. And it's just really tough.
Overall hate crimes in California are down, but a study from the State Justice Department showed that crimes against LGBTQ members rose 86% from 2022 to 2023, a trend happening nationwide. The GLAAD Alert Desk reported 932 anti-LGBTQ crimes. In just the last year, trans people were found to be disproportionately affected. Abby's decided this isn't the time to shrink. People have taken notice.
Thank you.
I mean, I've definitely seen her. I saw her the other day. She is definitely very fierce and very powerful.
Honey Mahogany, a director of the San Francisco Trans Initiative, is among those inspired by Abby's message.
For me, it made me really happy seeing her with her big trans flag, riding her skateboard, and just spreading that joy. I mean, it was a joyful moment for me. I'm sure it was a joyful moment for many people when they see her walk by.
Abby's rides are confined to San Francisco for now.
Happy Pride. I want to be able to see this keep going for the community at least to have something.
Just to spread that positivity and maybe just a little bit of pride.
And we'd love you to join us for our special Hope, Love, Pride. It starts at 10 a.m. Sunday, June 29th, same day as the Pride Parade. Find us on Pix Plus, 44 Cable 12, and streaming on the free CBS News app. The legendary Bay Area metal group Metallica taking over Levi Stadium this weekend. Their shows tonight and Sunday are set to fill the stadium. But before the group performs, they helped give back to the community.
Is that okay? All right, 3 squeezes and hold nice and tight. Yes.
Metallica partnered with the American Red Cross earlier this week to hold a special blood drive at Levi Stadium. The rock group is on tour this summer, and the American Red Cross says Santa Clara was one of the few selected stops chosen to host a blood drive.
They're a well-known band and an American icon, and anything we can do to help bring people to give blood is a win for us and for patients who need it.
Those who showed up got some gear for the concerts as well. Among the prizes given away was a Metallica and Red Cross t-shirt. Coming up in the next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area. A face-off outside Dodger Stadium. Tell you what happened after ICE agents were told to leave by the team's front office. Plus, a San Francisco renovation project could mean the end for the Valancourt Fountain on the Embarcadero. Now, some people say it needs to be saved.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
All right, thanks for staying with us. I'm Ann Makovic, and here is a look at some of our news headlines today. Governor Newsom says he is not giving up after a federal appeals court handed a victory to President Trump over his deployment of the National Guard. Last night, in a unanimous decision, a 3-judge panel ruled they can stay under the president's control and on the streets of Los Angeles without the governor's permission. President Trump has deployed 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 active duty Marines to LA following protests over immigration raids. The teen charged in a crash that killed a teacher in Oakland is expected to enter a plea in court today. Police say 18-year-old Eric Hernandez Garcia lost control of the car and sped onto the sidewalk, hitting Castlemont High School teacher Marvin Boomer last month. The suspect's lawyer says he panicked when he saw he was being pursued. CHP says officers backed off the chase before the crash. And nearly 1,000 PG&E customers in the Bay Area still without power because of high fire risk. You're looking at the PG&E outage map. The utility shut off power to the areas in purple as a precaution, mostly in Alameda County. Pockets of Contra Costa and Santa Clara counties are also affected. All right, let's get another check on our forecast this Friday. Our first alert weather with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, the winds are the big story for us today. As we head outside, our Bay Area friends are gearing up for wind speeds anywhere up to around 40 to 45 miles per hour this afternoon, while our friends in our inland spots are gearing up for winds closer to around 30 to 35 miles per hour. But at the same time, today's the first day of summer, and we're seeing a lot of sunshine widespread throughout the Bay Area. Temperatures a little bit cooler today, sitting in the 70s. We jump right back into the 80s in the next couple days in our inland spots. That includes the East Bay, the Santa Clara Valley, and for our friends up in wine country. Now, along the Bay, we're going to hold on tight to 70s this weekend with 60s by next week.
A win for the White House after a federal appeals court ruled California's National Guard can stay under President Trump's control. A lower court is holding a separate hearing on how President Trump is actually using the troops in Los Angeles. All this coming amid a face-off outside Dodger Stadium. The team's front office says it told ICE agents to leave the entrance to a parking lot yesterday, but Homeland Security says those agents were actually from Border Patrol and were not involved in any operation. Kara Finstrom reports from Dodger Stadium with more on what's going on here.
Yeah, those federal agents were told to go yesterday, but not before we saw those protests right here outside of the front gates here to the stadium. Most here protesting the presence of agents at this popular ballpark. Others, though, also calling on the team to take a stance on the immigration crackdown.
ICE out of LA.
That crowd protested hours before the first pitch. Security did quickly close the area until everyone cleared. Earlier, our chopper was up above and got this view of federal agents near the stadium. You can see what appears to be stadium security blocking them. Later, the agents drove away. Now, the Dodgers said ICE agents had requested permission to access the lots and were denied. ICE responded saying they were never there. The Department of Homeland Security then said the agents were actually with Border Patrol and in the area briefly, unrelated to any operation or enforcement. All this happening just as the team was poised to reveal some kind of community support plan. But the team then said because of the events yesterday, it needs time to firm up some other details. Some fans have called on the team to weigh in. Here's what we heard from one protester yesterday.
They saw that there's federal agents here at one of the biggest institutions here in the city of Los Angeles, Dodger Stadium, and they're not happy.
Now to more on that battle that you mentioned over California's National Guard troops. President Trump posted about what he is calling a big win for him in that Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals on the president's core power to call in the National Guard. He went on to attack Governor Newsom, calling him incompetent, saying all over the United States, if our cities and our people need protection, we are the ones to give it to them. Meanwhile, the governor expressed disappointment that the Ninth Circuit allowed the president to retain control, but said he welcomed their rejection of the president's sweeping claims he could federalize the California National Guard as he alone sees fit, without having to answer to a court, saying the president's not above the law and the state is going to continue to press forward with their challenge. No further word from the Dodgers on that community action that they were talking about, so we'll see if they weigh back in on this as well later today.
Matthew Mueller, the so-called American Nightmare kidnapper, has pleaded guilty to sexual assaults, an assault he first committed as a teenager in Sacramento County. Prosecutors say Mueller was 16 when he used a gun to hold two young campers captive near Folsom Lake in 1993. He has since been sentenced to an additional 11 years to life in prison. That is on top of the multiple life sentences he's already serving for a pair of 2009 home invasions in Mountain View and Palo Alto, and a 40-year sentence for the 2015 kidnapping and rape in Vallejo. Police in Vallejo at the time accused the victim of that assault, Denise Huskins, of faking her kidnapping. Mueller is also facing charges in Contra Costa County. The DA there charged him in a San Ramon area kidnapping that prosecutors say happened 2 weeks after he released Huskins. Well, the fate of a controversial fountain in San Francisco is up in the air. Some want to see the Villancourt fountain on the Embarcadero torn down, while others are looking to preserve the historic gathering place. But now city workers have begun fencing off the fountain, citing safety concerns. Kenny Choi shows us how some people are rallying to save what they call the Mecca of skateboarding.
To some, it's an eyesore, concrete blocks jutting in every direction. To others, like Ted Barrow, it's a masterpiece.
This is incredible. There's no other fountain anywhere in the world that
looks like this.
Barrow can't ride these days because of an injury, but speaks intimately of what he sees as an iconic landmark for the sport. Each chip on the brick plaza has a story.
All of these thousands of pockmarks come from the side of a skateboard.
The Valancourt Fountain has been a gathering space for activists, artists, and more at the Embarcadero Plaza since 1971. City workers began fencing off the area this week. With redevelopment plans threatening its future, advocates from preservation communities are coming together.
It's amazing that it's still here, and we want to fight to keep it here.
It'd be a shame to lose it because it's got so much history.
A new report commissioned by the city concluded the structure contains asbestos and lead, and that its crumbling condition is a public safety issue. Tamara Apperton is a spokesperson for San Francisco Recreation and Parks.
The structure is unstable, hazardous materials are present, and we just can't allow public access to a space that poses safety risks.
Designed by artist Armand Valancourt, the fountain was meant to challenge convention. Barrow is not just a late 40s skateboarder reminiscing and trying to hold on to the past. He also has a PhD in art history.
We as a people suffer. You know, when you destroy art, you deprive the audience, the public, of being challenged. Yes, this is a very challenging work of art. This is dynamic, it's gruff, it's unapologetic.
As city planners' eye changes to the plaza, supporters fear its days may be numbered.
As a skateboarder, you know, a big part of what I love about San Francisco will be deeply changed if this is gone.
For now, they'll keep riding and hoping this part of their history is preserved.
Well, the city of San Francisco is still in the design phase of the renovation project at the Embarcadero Plaza. It is expected to cost somewhere between $15 and $20 million of public funds. Coming up next, after receiving a life-changing diagnosis, this Stanford professor devised a lesson plan around the most vulnerable chapter of his life, how he is teaching his students something they'll never forget.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
Well, temperatures are a lot cooler for us today compared to the past few days, but we're still dealing with the strong onshore winds, gusts anywhere up to around 40 to 45 miles per hour today in areas like Half Moon Bay, stretched all the way up into Stinson Beach, and all the way up into Bodega Bay too. So temperatures are a lot cooler along our shoreline today. We're still holding on tight to 70s this afternoon throughout most our inland areas, from Santa Rosa over into Antioch and all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. We actually cool down even more for our friends into San Jose this afternoon, sitting in the upper 60s there, low 70s along the foothills closer to Los Gatos. Let's talk about a couple things though. Diving into this weekend, this area of low pressure that's sitting just north of us, it's continuing to track south. And it's bringing in storms for our friends up in the Pacific Northwest. We're really just dealing with the leftovers. It changes the jet stream, and we're dealing with strong onshore winds due to this. We've noticed it the past few days. We're continuing to notice it into the next couple days, too. Earlier this morning, we were up to around 30-mile-per-hour wind gust into San Francisco and Bodega Bay. It ramps up even more by the 1 o'clock hour. Take a look at your local communities. Into the evening hours tonight, just around dinner time, we're already up to around 20 to 25-mile-per-hour winds all the way off into Fremont and Concord. Stronger conditions along the shoreline, and that's the case, too, as we head into our Saturday forecast. I'll advance 24 hours just so you could see Saturday afternoon, once again, dealing with breezy conditions anywhere along our coast and especially in our inland areas too. But let's dive into the next 7 days because the winds will start to die down as we head into Sunday and Monday of next week. At that point, temperatures start to rise a little bit. As we head into next week, we're also gearing up for sunnier skies too on Monday. Some partly cloudy conditions rolling back in on Tuesday, but still not a drop of rain in sight. Now we make our way over into the bay, a little bit cooler, a little bit cloudier too, especially today, lasting into our evening hours tonight. We'll see on and off clouds along our coast. It dries up by tomorrow.
A professor at Stanford University got a life-changing diagnosis. So in response, Dr. Bryant Lynn decided to teach his students about it, giving them a very raw look at his personal fight against cancer. David Begg.
You know you're old when your kids can beat you at stuff.
Last year, Dr. Bryant Lynn had a lingering cough, and he thought it might be allergies. 6 weeks later, it was confirmed to be stage 4 lung cancer.
You had a lot of disease here.
Have you ever smoked?
Never smoked.
Ever been around people who smoked?
Not really.
And here's the twist. Dr. Lynn has spent many years as a professor at Stanford University, researching and teaching about non-smoker lung cancer.
Completely, very important. Ironically, I become the poster child for the disease.
You're warning people about it, and here you are. The odds of you getting it are what?
So the odds, it's interesting. For Asians now, we are thinking that the odds are higher. Asian women have a twice the rate of non-smoker lung cancer than non-Asian women.
Dr. Lynn made a surprising decision. He created a Stanford course based around his diagnosis and treatment.
I was diagnosed, I have stage 4 cancer, which is not curable. I will highly likely die of this cancer or something related to this cancer. It may be 1 year, it may be 2 years, it may be 5 years, I really don't know. I promised myself I wouldn't choke up, and now I'm choking up.
So you get a terminal diagnosis and you decide, well, I'm gonna go teach about it.
Sounds crazy, right? Yeah.
Dr. Lynn doesn't like to give advice.
But I'll ask you to share with us the lessons that you find work best for you.
This is one thing. People come up to me, how come you're so happy? How come you're so positive? I think partially because of my attitude. And I think one, of course, I was born that way. I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, jolly. But two, I think try to be kind. It's easy to forget to be kind when you're sick. It's easy to forget to be kind when you're not feeling well, when you're busy, when life has you down.
He opened the course with a letter written by one of his former patients, which underscores the type of doctor he hopes these students will become.
So, dearest Dr. Lynn, I wanted to thank you so much for taking such good care of me in my old age. You treated me as you would treat your own father, and I received this letter 2 weeks after he died. He spent time writing a letter for me during his last days of life. In a way, this class is part of my letter, part of what I'm doing to give back to my community.
What was the lesson you were trying to teach?
One thing I observed early on is even though I knew what a patient goes through as a doctor, I didn't really know. So I wanted to kind of rebalance the proportion of what medical students see in a typical class in medical school.
In week 3 of his college course, Dr. Lynn, who is a primary care physician, shared his chemotherapy journey, giving students a raw behind-the-scenes look into the emotion and physical toll of cancer.
You're almost done. Just make sure you get every drop.
Feeling okay, a little nauseous, avoiding the Chipotle today because of that.
You more focused on living or preparing for death?
Living. So this is something I think surprised students in the class. Is tiles and their letters.
What matters to you these days?
Number one, time with family.
With a Z, I know is a word.
Dr. Lynn and his wife, Christine, are parents to 17-year-old Dominic and 13-year-old Atticus.
Triple 18.
They have both been candid with the boys about his diagnosis and the prognosis.
I'll just read the last few paragraphs.
Okay.
Dr. Lynn has saved letters that he's written for his boys for a time he knows is coming.
There are things we can't control, like health. Gratitude can provide an overarching goodness as you build your lives. Whether I'm here or not, what I want you to know is that I love you. Of the many things I've done that have given my life meaning, being your daddy is the greatest of all. This letter would not be complete if it didn't include how essential your mom is in our lives. Listen to her, and if I'm not around, you have to take care of her. I love you all.
At the end of the 10-week course,
yet today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of this earth.
the 50-year-old Dr. Lynn read for his students another letter, inspired by Lou Gehrig's farewell.
When you have students and former residents reaching out to pray for you, chant with you, and wish you well, that's something. When you have a father and mother who worked all their lives to send you to medical school, it's a blessing. When you have a wife who's been a tower of strength and shown more courage than you dream existed, that's the finest I know. So I close in saying that I may have had a tough break, but I have an awful lot to live for. Thank you, and it's been an honor.
Coming up, the San Francisco Black Film Festival is back. How that is putting Black voices and history in the spotlight.
for our friends along the coast as we head into this afternoon. It's going to be a breezy one for us, too. That's the big weather story right now. The strong winds lasting into the evening hours tonight. Tomorrow is going to be a repeat as we head into this weekend with strong winds up to around 40 to 45 miles per hour along our coastline, about 30-mile-per-hour winds in our inland areas. Here's our temperatures, though, for today. A lot cooler along the coast compared to our inland areas, but think about where we were at just 2 days ago. We were in the 90s, almost the triple digits the other day on Wednesday over in Antioch, and we were in the 90s up into Santa Rosa, but today it's a lot more mild for the first day of summer. We're also gearing up for some cooler conditions down into the Santa Clara Valley. 60s in store for us down there. Now, the reason why we're cooling down, well, there's this area of low pressure kind of impacting our local forecast. It's moving its way in from the north. And even though it's not bringing in storms to us here locally, as they're all staying to the north of us, all the way up into the Pacific Northwest, it is changing the direction of the winds, and it's also allowing for them to be a lot stronger for our friends along our local communities, along our shoreline, at the surface level, and all the way off into our inland spots, too. This afternoon, heading into this evening, we could see gusts up to around 40 miles per hour at times in areas like San Francisco, Bodega Bay, Half Moon Bay also dealing with those strong onshore winds, but you notice it in our inland areas too. And the reason why that's a concern for us, well, think about it. It's been a very dry season. It's dry out there. We've been dealing with hot temperatures earlier this week and strong winds. All of those ingredients together allow for fire weather conditions. So I'm going to talk more about that heading into the next couple hours, but for now, over to you.
Oh, the San Francisco Black Film Festival has returned. That is happening at the Delancey Foundation Theater on the Embarcadero. Our Veronica Macias caught up with the executive director, who's making sure the focus remains on Black voices and Black history.
Paper and politics are not to be friends.
Cree Ray grew up watching her grandmother, Ave Maria Montague, pop into theaters, get on stage, and welcome people to the Black Film Festival she founded back in 1998. Cree's father, Khalil Ray, then took over things. And while she started directing sooner than expected, she stepped firmly into the role and is making sure her family's vision of providing a platform for Black filmmakers, screenwriters, and actors
because I think the other one that he needs
carries on in San Francisco. Because mainstream media, she says, still portrays the Black community with stereotypes or leaves them out entirely.
Going back to like the ode of my grandmother, was her biggest thing was she wanted to be able to support African Americans in our film and tell our stories, and we're the only ones who can tell it in a way that we can make the audience understand, because it's our story. It's not somebody else trying to tell our story from their eyes.
The stories on screen are promoting positive representation of the Black community and are uplifting, while shedding light on the real hardships of the African American experience.
We've always worked right side by side with the Fillmore Juneteenth Festival, like the street fair.
Okay.
So we've always had our film festival the same exact time as that Fillmore Street Fair. So it was almost like, this is Fillmore, this is us. This is like how we celebrate who we are.
The festival's executive producer says there could be no better place than what used to be known as the Harlem of the West, or the Fillmore at the time the festival started. It was once thriving with jazz music, filled with fashion and arts. African Americans flocked to fill shipyard jobs here. Some of the filmmakers have been returning for years and showcasing Black voices. Now in the hands of the third generation with Cree Ray, Sabrina and others with star power, like Danny Glover, are helping her to continue her grandmother's legacy.
The SF Black Film Festival will continue to run through the weekend. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your First Alert forecast and another look at your top stories.